question about the Oscars. Maybe some of my followers might be interested in that. So what he might have done is something like this. Instead of beginning the tweet with the @ symbol and my username, he could have put the @ symbol and my username somewhere in the middle of the tweet. So he could have said something like, why are there 2 Oscars instead of just 1 for best performance, asks Jenny Saxton? Because it spreads around the globe. So now because the @ symbol and my username is in the middle of the tweet and not at the very beginning, this is no longer an @ reply. This is now an actual tweet, and all of his followers are going to see this. And if he had done it this way, it would have been good for me, because maybe 1 or 2 of his followers might have seen this and they might have said, that's kind of interesting. Who is this Jenny Saxton person? Let me click on her name and see what she tweets about. Because when you put the @ symbol in front of someone's name, it turns that into a hot link back to that person's Twitter page. So, I might have picked up a few followers that way. But okay, he didn't do it that way. All right. Whatever. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do is advertise. Let people know that you're on Twitter. And one of the best ways of doing that is to include meaningful keywords in your Twitter profile. When you open a Twitter account, you get 160 characters to say a few words about yourself. And so many people don't do this, and I don't know why. But you need to do this to, first of all, allow people to find you, and also to let people know who you are and why they should be following you. So here's an example. This is a librarian named Alyssa. She's a really good person to follow, by the way. She doesn't tweet a lot, but when she does, it's usually something really good. And in her bio, she has described herself, I don't know how well you can see this, but she's described herself as a social media maven, librarian, author, editor, speaker, instructor, avid gamer, horror film fan, belly dancer, and reality TV junkie. Okay, so if you're a belly dancer and you're looking for other belly dancers on Twitter, this will help you to find her. So you do want to include meaningful words like that. Another thing you want to do is, if you have a web page or a blog, you want to embed a Twitter button that will link people back to your Twitter page and let people follow you. Go on to Google and just type in Twitter buttons, and you'll get a whole bunch of these, and a lot of them are free, and they'll just give you the code that you can just embed into your web page or your blog. And then also don't forget to include your Twitter URL in your email signature, so that when you send an email message to somebody, they can see that you're on Twitter. If it's time to have some new business cards printed up, don't forget to put your Twitter URL on your business cards also. The next thing you want to do, again, is to, if you want to, you don't have to, but use Twitter with a mobile device. And there are tons and tons of apps out there for whatever device you have, either the iPhone, BlackBerry, whatever it is. You don't have to use any of these apps, but they kind of just enhance the Twitter experience for you, make it a little bit easier for you to use Twitter on your cell phone or on your mobile device. And there's just tons and tons of these. And they all have different features. You can try different ones and see which ones you like the best. There are also desktop applications. Again, you don't have to use these, but there's a bunch of them that, again, have different features and just let you do sort of different things. The one that I use is this one in the picture here. It's called Twirl. And it's just a little widget, like a little box that sits on my desktop all day, so that I don't have to keep logging into Twitter, 20 times a day to see, it just kind of sits there, and then every time I get a new tweet, it dings, or something, and I can also tweet from this. If you have more than one Twitter account, you can have more than one of these open at the same time. So, the different desktop apps do different things. Just try the different ones. TweetDeck is probably the most popular one. The next thing you want to get familiar with is your sidebar when you log into your Twitter account. This is sort of your command central where you go to find out what's going on. This is where I would click if I wanted to see if anybody has mentioned me in a tweet. And your dean tweeted me earlier, so the next time I log into my Twitter account, I'm going to go here and I'll see his tweet. You can also save tweets. If there's somebody has tweeted a link to something and you don't have time to read it right now, you can save it for later. When you look at a tweet, if you mouse over the side of it, you see this little gold star, and if you click the gold star, it will save it into your favorites, and then you can go back to it later. Here's the search box just embedded in Twitter if you want to search for something. Also, there are something called lists, which are really good, a big time saver. Say you are following 100 people, but 20 of them are librarians. And you're having a really busy day, and you don't have time to look at all the tweets of all the 100 people that you're following, but you do tweets that are coming from the librarians that you follow. Well, you can create a list of just the librarians. So like I created one called Library Tweets, and I added in all the librarians that I follow. So I can just click there and see just the tweets coming from the other librarians. So that can really save you some time. You can also see what topics are trending. These are the topics that people are talking about right now the most. And it's always this kid, Justin Bieber. Who is this? I don't even know. But it's this little kid who, he's a singer, I think, and he's always trending, and Lady Gaga is always trending. But if something big is happening in the news, that's what's trending, or if a new movie comes out, you can see what people are talking about right now. There's also 50 bazillion third-party applications that will do anything you could possibly think of that you might want to do with Twitter. And I'm just going to mention a few of them. This is just a very few. Bitly is you may be familiar with this already, it's a URL shortener. Remember, you only have 140 characters to work with, so if you want to tweet a link to an article or something, you may have to shorten that link. Twapper Keeper is, if you're doing a live chat, it's a way of archiving the chat. Tweetious is a tool that will, every time you tweet a link to something, it will automatically save that link into your Delicious account. Tons and tons of these. Really, the only one I really need to mention is this one called 140, which is a directory of Twitter apps. So if you go to 140, you can find all the apps for whatever you might want to do. And there's just tons and tons and tons of these out there. Another thing to remember when you're on Twitter is to be patient. This is called the Twitter fail whale. A lot of times you'll get this message, just try again, and you'll get in. You see this a lot. And then finally, you want to learn the Twitter mantra, which is think before you tweet. Remember, Twitter is real time. You cannot, once you tweet something, you cannot edit it. You can't go back and change it. You can delete it and start again. But even if only a nanosecond has passed between the time you hit that tweet button and the time you think to yourself, oh geez, maybe I shouldn't have tweeted that, somebody out there has seen it.